MovieWeb.com.
So I wanted to begin by asking you, what was it about this story? Obviously, it's based on a true story. What was it that really you felt was important to tell now? And could you talk about how the events of the film led up to the Fair Pay Act of 1970?
I couldn't believe I didn't know this story. I kind of felt like a great victory for women and for workers and for people everywhere. And yet this story is not well known in Britain. These women kind of, after they secured their victory, they went back to their lives, back to their husbands and families and back to their jobs and kind of disappeared from view. So it was very exciting to tell a story that was inspirational and powerful, but to be the guy to tell it first, you know, to kind of bring it back. And it felt like after 40 years of anonymity, these women kind of deserved a bit of a victory parade. They're kind of, yeah, I think we were all inspired by, let's throw a party for these women. They did a great thing. They kind of need to be recognized. When I first went to meet them, because there are 30 or 40 of the women still alive, I couldn't believe how funny they were. They told their stories to me and the producers with great humor and great wit and really made us laugh. And it kind of inspired us that we could make a movie that wasn't just inspirational and important, but was also funny and entertaining. And therefore, we could kind of bring this story to a really wide audience. This wasn't a movie that would just preach to the converted or just be shown in a few art cinemas. This could be a kind of big, popular, entertaining, funny movie that has this kind of great, powerful sting in its tail, and that you can spend the first half of the movie laughing at their great sense of humor, these women, and then kind of really be hit by the powerful emotions the story causes. So who wouldn't want to make that film?
Yeah. The Rita character is actually not based on a specific person, but based on several different people. Is that correct?
Yeah, based on 2 or 3 women, but in many ways represents all the women. I think what's important about this story is that these women were not politically engaged. They weren't active in their union. They didn't feel they were part of mainstream politics. They were just ordinary housewives, mothers and factory workers who were just sick and tired of being pushed around. And I think these days we've forgotten that we can say no, that you don't have to accept being pushed around by whatever corporation you work for. And so I think it's a really great time to kind of remind an audience of that, you know. Just try saying no. Just try saying, oh, we're mad as hell, we're not going to take this anymore. And just like these women.
The power is within, really.
Yeah. And if you believe in your cause and if you stick together, you know, in this story, 187 women took on the Ford Motor Company, the largest corporation in the world, that employed 50,000 men. So they took on 50,000 men, this small group of women, and they won. And I think if that doesn't inspire you, nothing will.
Absolutely. Can you talk about setting the tone and the mood for the film? I had read that it was a specific choice that you wanted to make the film bright and sort of summery as opposed to sort of dark and moody. Could you talk about that choice?
Yeah. I think I think it was important to make a movie that inspired an audience because it's a rare positive story. You know, this really is a positive story. It's a story about a victory. And so often stories about social issues, about working class strife, are negative. They're a lament or a complaint. What's great about this story is that they won. And they won with great humor and great determination. And so we wanted to make a movie that reflected that. And, you know, I got to meet the real women, and that's what they were like. They were full of life and wit and humor, but they were also kind of excited by the great victory that they'd had. So it seemed to me an opportunity to make a movie that was kind of positive, that kind of inspired you, that could entertain you, make you laugh, but then send you out of the movie theatre thinking, yeah, maybe we could do that. So it's a rare example, I think, of a movie about social issues that can be positive.
So it was important to sort of keep it bright and that way that the audience can kind of be drawn into. I
thought so. And, you know, these women, these characters, you know, they had good lives. They had good jobs. They lived in you know, brand new apartment blocks. They had husbands and families. Things were good. They only had one problem, and that was they were being pushed around by the company they worked for. So it's not a film about misery. It's not a film about being poor. It's a film about learning to stand up for yourself and feeling that great sense of empowerment you get when you do.
What if Mrs. Castle says no deal?
How will you cope then?
Cope? We're women. Now, don't ask such stupid questions.